Hi, everybody. So I'm here with the miserable liberal, and we're talking about the Betsy DeVos. She had her hair. Now, she is Trump's nominee to head the education department. And what's wrong with her? There's a lot wrong with her. Let's talk about something funny first. So she is, of course, a right-winger, and she's overly religious, and that means she loves guns. I don't know how those things go together, but they go together. So here they are. They asked her about keeping guns out of schools. And can't you say that we should keep guns out of schools? It just as a blanket statement, no guns in schools. And here was her explanation of why some schools need guns. Are you ready? This is awesome.
To Senator Enzi and the school that he was talking about in Wapiti, Wyoming, I think probably I would imagine that there's probably a gun in the school to protect from potential grizzlies.
If President
Potential grizzly bears. You know how you can't pick up a paper. You can't read a newspaper without hearing another story about a school that protected itself against a grizzly. So she's the Sarah Palin of nominees, okay? So we got that, which I thought Rick Perry was going to be the Sarah Palin of nominees. He's nominated to head a department he couldn't even remember the name of 3 years ago that he wanted to eliminate. Only in America, right, Don King? So who is Betsy DeVos, right? So she is a big privatizer. She wants to privatize the schools, just like Cory Booker did, just like Rahm Emanuel, just like the Arnie Duncan, the corporate. Well, here's who she is. She's a billionaire. She has no education degree, no teaching experience, no experience working in a school environment. She never attended public school or a state university, never put her own children in public school, does not believe or support public education, believes that public school teachers are overpaid, supports for-profit education, invested $200 million in Christian schools and organizations, doggedly advocates funneling money out of public education and into for-profit Christian-based education. Now, I want to make the quick point that a lot of those things you could say about Barack Obama's chief star education secretary, Arnie Duncan. So Arnie Duncan was a privatizer. Arnie Duncan pushed charter schools. Arnie Duncan wanted to have tests, constant testing of kids, and then tie teachers paid to those tests, and he used proficiency instead of growth. So why is all that bad? Well, because you're undermining public education. You're taking public dollars. You're giving it to a private corporation. And Steph, let me ask you a question. The miserable liberals here. When someone wants to open a private charter school, what are the requirements?
Oh, that's a great. What are the requirements, Jimmy? Oh, none. There are no requirements. Anybody can open their own charter school. That's what kind of oversight they have with private schools.
Okay. So private schools, there's no requirement. You can just open one. They're often corrupted. They often steal people's pensions. There's no unions. I had a niece who was in a charter school for 2 years. They took all their pension. They just folded. So now that she got no money, she doesn't get any of the money she put into her retirement. She has no tenure, no nothing. So they like charter schools because there's no unions. They can break their union. It's all these new young teachers. So I bring that up because now people are aware of who the education secretary is and how shitty she is. People were not aware of it. By the way, Arnie Duncan, when he left the administration, he left in shame. He was a failure. All his big ideas, Common Core, tying teachers' pay to tests, testing kids, charter, the administration turned their back on all that stuff.
What, Jimmy?
All that stuff, except for charter schools. They still like privatizing public education.
Jimmy, are you telling me that Race to the Top was a flop?
Race to the Top was a flop. So Arnie Duncan tried to put it. You just have a little corporate philosophy you injected into education. That's not how education. So his idea was, we're going to have schools compete for money, and the schools that win get more money. What about the schools that fail? They get less money, and those kids just get less money, I guess, and then those kids What? That was the dumbest idea. That's not how education works. The schools that are failing should get more money, you knuckleheads. Anyway, Arnie Duncan, not a day in this classroom, not a teacher. Not a day in the classroom. Arnie Duncan, not a teacher. Just like her. But everybody was okay with it because Barack Obama said he was really smart. And Barack Obama's really smart. I mean, he went to an Ivy League school. All those Ivy Leaguers surrounding Barack Obama. And what did they do? They wiped out the Democratic Party. They're wiped out. All those brilliant guys, they're wiped out. See what happens when you become Republicans? When given the choice between a Republican and a Republican, the people choose the Republicans. Get that in mind. She is the daughter of Edgar Prince, who founded the Michigan-based Prince Corporation, an auto parts business that sold for $1.35 billion. That was in 1996. That was real money. $1 billion. That's 1,000 millions. That's a lot of money. She also married into the massive Amway fortune by marrying Dick DeVos. Why would you call yourself Dick if your name is Richard? Why would you do that on purpose? Dick DeVos, whose father co-founded that company. You could call yourself Richard. If I was named Richard, I'd say, hey, call me Rick. Ricky Bobby. Call me Richard. Dick? Yeah, I like being called a dick in public to my face. That's just the weirdest thing. If your name's Peter, you don't go, hey, call me Prick. I like it. How about Pete? Nah, Prick. Petey? Prick. Call me Prick. I don't get it. Anyway, so she married Dick DeVos, whose father co-founded Amway. So she's a real self-starter. She knows what it's like. She can feel the pain of the people, blah, blah, blah. Unbelievable, right? So here's another instance of her being dumb. And I'm going to play this for you just to show that she doesn't know the first thing about anything. Ready? Here's that her confirmation hearing.
I want to go back to the Individual with Disabilities in Education Act. That's a federal civil rights law. So do you stand by your statement a few minutes ago that it should be up to the states whether to follow it?
The law must be followed. Federal law must be followed where federal dollars are in play.
So were you
First of all, federal law should be followed always. You don't get to disregard federal law if the federal government isn't giving you money. You have stuff to follow the law, and federal law supersedes state law.
aware when I just asked you about the IDEA that it was a federal law?
I may have confused it.
She was not aware that it was a federal law. She was not aware that it was a federal law. She didn't even know it was a law. And then I tweeted out, Arnie Duncan, 0 teaching experience, tried to run public education like a corporation. Huge fail. No one noticed. She's already got 21,000 retweets. So I had 21,000 retweets when I retweeted that video of her being a dummy at the confirmation hearing. Why do I make that point? Well, but because the guy before her wanted to do almost the same goddamn things. And did. Look what Rahm Emanuel did in Chicago, the way he's decimated the public schools in Chicago. Look at that. So that's their, look at what Cory Booker's done in New Jersey. This is their ideal, privatizing public education. And remember, charter schools don't perform any better than regular public schools, and they get to pick and choose who they want. And they don't have a union, and they're private. We don't know what they're doing with the money. There's so many things. So now people are all awake because Donnie Tynahands is nominating someone horrible. Mm-hmm. Isn't that nice? I think it's so adorable that people tweet at me all the time. Doesn't Tillerson's appointment to be Secretary of State make you sick? Tillerson, the guy from Exxon. And I just say back, first of all, no, it makes me laugh that you think that should make me sick. It makes me laugh because what I say back to them is, are you telling me that oil companies are now going to be influencing our foreign policy? Oh, my God. So now people are waking up. So they're aware of who the Secretary of Education. 21,000 retweets so I'm sure it went on to get 20,000 more. And there's a bunch of videos of her, and they were being tweeted out, and they're getting thousands and tens of thousands retweets, right? Nobody, still, I bet no one knows who Arnie Duncan is. Hey, we're doing another live Jimmy Dore show January 30th. That's a Monday night, 8 p.m. in Burbank, California. There's a link for tickets right underneath here. Click on the link. We'll see you January 30th for the next live Jimmy Dore show.